Hi guys, welcome to another 2-minute devotion with Dad. We're in Matthew 18 and Jesus is still talking about forgiveness. And something that struck me this morning, I don't know if I've thought about this before, the parable of the unforgiving debtor. So Peter comes to Jesus and says, Lord, how often should I forgive someone who sins against me? 7 times? No, not 7 times, Jesus replied, but 70 times 7. And then he goes on with the parable. Now, this is quite, I don't know, pretty cool or interesting. I don't know how many times I've read this parable. And Peter's actually, I don't know, there's different approaches. Some people say Peter's suggesting is pretty good to suggest 7 times. Wow, it's pretty complete, the number of perfection, and it's a lot, But Jesus didn't talk about the number of times or the number of the offense. He went on to talk about the size of the offense. 70 times 7, yes, as a number, but then actually this parable talks about a size of debt that is owing and that was forgiven. And I think Jesus covers both bases here, because you've got, if someone does something against me 7 times, that talks about 7 different offenses, I guess. But now we've got an accumulative debt here, and the size of this debt is what Jesus is talking about. And obviously it's alluding to our sin. It's, the sheer innumerable amount of debt that has been accumulated here by this person. And Jesus is saying that the king in this parable has forgiven it all. Here Peter is saying, hey, if someone does something against me 7 times, so 7 different offenses, but now we've got a full amount. And I think it's just alludes to the impossibility of our situation, because it's something that we can't possibly ever hope to pay off, even over time. Because the comparison here of millions of dollars versus a few $1,000s, in my notes here, it talks about, in the Greek, 10,000 talents was the highest unit of currency. So, this amount exceeded the tax revenue of all Galilee. So this is just the number to create that concept, millions of dollars. Of course, today we know that millions of dollars is still a lot, but doesn't go as far as this would suggest back here. But Jesus still wants us to forgive, regardless of how much, how many times, the size, the magnitude of the debt. Jesus still wants us to forgive, because even though this parable is synonymous with God's debt, our debt that God forgave, Jesus is still throwing it back to Peter. He's still throwing it back to you and me as believers. Regardless of the magnitude of someone's debt against us, we are still expected to forgive, because that's what my Heavenly Father will do to you if you refuse to forgive your brothers and sisters from your heart. And that's the clincher there. We can't just say, yeah, I forgive you, then hold it against them. We have to let go, because Jesus let go of our debt, or God did, when he paid our price on the cross. It's gone. And so 7 times sounds pretty petty against the 77, just like the few $1,000s sounds petty against millions. And no matter what anyone has done to us, how severe or whatever it may feel, quite petty compared to what we have done against God. So just a bit of perspective there. Don't bring this into the daily grind only. Think long term. Think larger about how many or how great an offense that Jesus is talking about here when we need to forgive. And that's a big call for us. We need to be a bit more gracious, myself included. Anyway, I'll cop it there. Bless you guys. Have a great day, and we'll see you at the next one. Bye.